WOCA.
Ocala. Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Ocala, baby.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Nice looking Friday morning. It's time for Ocala Magazine Radio. John Sotomayor is here to be your host. He, of course, is the executive editor of Ocala Magazine. Got a lineup of some nice looking people over there. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we do have a great group of people today. Ocala Magazine thought it'd be exciting for our listeners and readers to know who the writers are behind the stories that we give them every month.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so we have assembled some of our writers. Of course, it's not everybody that works with us, but it's a good sample of more continuous ones that write with us. So I'm going to go right into introductions. With me is Maritza Manresa. She writes our medical journal. She's the author of 2 books, Learning How to Open and Operate a Financially Successful Import-Export Business, and Learning How to Say No When You Really Say Yes. Good morning, Maritza.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Also, we have David Moore. He's our on-the-menu restaurant review writer. He's formerly the lifestyle editor of Ocala's Star Banner, and he's also an adjunct professor at UF. Good morning, David.
Hey, good morning, good morning.
All right. And with us is also Keith Chartrand. Keith writes sports and sports columns for various newspapers and is a new writer with us. Good morning, Keith.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Also, we've included some of our interns. I've invited 3 interns that work with me, but only 2 could be here. I like to refer to them as Johnny's Angels because they are my angels. And with us is Heather Reinblatt. She is a journalism student at CF. And also Lysandra Nett, also known as Lisa Rios, and she's also studying journalism at CF.
Nice.
Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
All right. So we're going to start with David. David, can you give us a little background about yourself?
Oh, sure. I graduated from the University of Florida, but that's where I have my degree in journalism, and I'm currently teaching a writing lab there. It's called MMC 2100 as the class, and it's writing for mass communication. So I do that, and then, like you said, I've been for about 17 years. I worked at the Ocala Star Banner. I was features editor, lifestyle editor. So in that capacity, I've done lots of stories and editing on many different topics, and I write about food now for Ocala Magazine.
That's right.
And there was a weekly food section, so I'm used to editing and writing about food for many years.
Great. And share us with some of the highlights with the restaurant review.
Oh, yeah. This has been I've been doing it about a year now, and so it's been a very, it's a great job. I enjoy going to the restaurants, and what I try to do is, describe the atmosphere for people. Let them know, hey, this is kind of what it's like inside. This is kind of what the menu is. Maybe these are the price points, kind of what you can expect from that experience. And so I think, one of the coolest places in town that you'd always want to invite somebody to really impress them would probably be Cuvée Wine and Bistro, just because that interactive wine sampling system they have is just like
very
no
unique.
Other. So
exactly.
If you got somebody in town, that's a great spot to go to. Cool. And then also, our readers in our reader poll suggested that they said that the Melting Pot was one of our most romantic. They voted it most romantic place, and
best of the best.
And the best of the best. They said this was the most romantic restaurant. And the manager said a good quote. I thought he said, lots of people say, it takes some people say it takes a long time. And I say, I know. Isn't it wonderful? We don't have enough times like that in our lives anymore. So it's true. I think that's why they say it's the most romantic, is because you get there and you have to spend a lot of time.
That's right.
You end up having to have conversations. So ladies like that kind of stuff. So they say, hey, this is the most romantic. And in May, for this issue we have for Mother's Day, we have a great review of Ivy House.
Ivy House, that's right.
Yeah, so it's a great spot, wonderful place. They got Mimi is the head lady there, and they brought on that chef Rick Alaba.
Yes,
so it is a great place.
And they can be looking forward to that when it comes out shortly this next week.
Yes.
Thank you, David. Okay, let's turn to Maritza. Maritza, you write our medical journal. Tell us about that. What was that like? Because that was kind of new for you, wasn't that?
Yes, it's been very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I think the important thing about the medical journal is that we're able to inform the citizens about different aspects of in the medical arena, and take away some of the anxiety of people thinking, well, I may have this or that or the other. The medical community, we have an excellent medical community in Ocala. I think people need to know that we have wonderful and very well prepare doctors here in Ocala. You don't need to go out of Ocala to be seeking specialists. And I've talked to doctors in just about every arena, and they have all been wonderful.
Tell us some of the highlights, perhaps a story that you worked on recently.
Well, the one I'm just going to give you a little preview about the one coming up now next week. It's orthopedics for the aging athlete, and it's really interesting because it talks about yes. We all think about the aging athlete, how well in shape they are and how good they're doing, but after so many years of sports, you put a lot of strain in your bones and your muscles, and so they do feel the effect after a while. So there's things that they can do to keep up with that, and there are treatments available that are not so bad that they can deal with. And also very interesting, I do learn very interesting things every time, and one of the things was that one of the things that affects people is if you're wearing the right kind of shoe.
Oh.
Not just the right shoe for the sport, but the right shoe for what you're for what you're doing. If your shoe's worn out, it is going to cause you problems. So that was interesting.
Very interesting fact right there.
Yes.
In fact, my trainer has had me change my sneakers too, and they weren't even worn out. And I was like, why do we need to do that?
Yes.
And that's
yes,
the reason.
Yes.
Cool. What about the other feature that we worked on recently on genetics?
That was very interesting because people have the misconception that you have this genetic disorders, and it's not that they're genetically inherited. It's just that you're predisposed to a gene that carries that disease, but there's a lot of outside forces that really trigger that disease or disorder to come about. So you may have that gene, you may be predisposed, but leading a good lifestyle, good eating habits, good exercise, and a lot of times not being exposed to those outside forces plays a big role in whether you develop those diseases or not. And very interesting, Ocala, it's moving, we're very ahead. We're having starting May 1st, just this past week, Ocala Regional is having a clinic where a genetic specialist is going to be doing testing. If you feel that you're predisposed to one of those diseases, you can go and get tested, and they can do preventative work on that.
Fantastic. And if people want to know more, they can check with the ORMC then.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Maritza.
You're welcome.
Let's turn to Keith now. Keith is a new writer with us, and you specialize in sports. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm kind of the kid that always wanted to be the athlete, but really never made it. And so you're the little sports geek kind of thing. But I really had a passion for getting involved in the journalism and the broadcasting side of it. Prior to moving to Ocala, and who wouldn't want to come to palm trees and not having to dig your car out after you get through a 9-inch snowstorm. And when you're using a hockey stick because you work in a sports place instead of a shovel, coming down to Florida is really appealing, despite the fact of working at a place where I worked for 7 years. I worked at ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut. I worked in the newsroom there for 7 years and dealt with a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, such as working in the assignment. I was an assignment editor working in the newsroom. So thus the hockey stick, helping my friend from Georgia, who'd never driven in the snow before, getting her little lowrider car out of her parking spot at 3 o'clock in the morning. Thus the reason why the palm trees and the sun is a lot better. But I went through some critical times at ESPN when there were big breaking news stories when Bobby Knight got fired. I was there when 9/11 happened, and had to have a little discussion as far as how does the sports world react to this, and whether is it even appropriate to go on the air and do something and do a sports news show when the biggest tragedy in the last 50 years in American history has taken place.
Right.
But one thing that I found out through a transition of careers is telling a story, and the best way that you can tell a story is through writing. And I've developed that passion. And I moved down here and was the sports editor at the Village's Daily Sun newspaper for 8 years, and found that telling a story, really, you can find details.
Absolutely.
A 30-second video doesn't tell a story. Even a reporter doing a 2-minute piece really can't tell the full story behind anything that happens, whether it's a 90-year-old hitting a hole-in-one, which is very pleasing and a great hometown story, or something as serious as the Boston bombings.
Right.
So right now I'm a freelance writer, writing for many different entities: BrightHouseSportsNetworks.com, the Ocala Star Banner, the Gainesville Sun. Of course, I'm writing for you guys as well. And looking forward to our publication of the Ted Potter story.
Yeah, tell us about that, because you've written 2 Golf Pro stories for us. One that appeared last month, short one, and then one coming out in this next issue, so a sneak peek. So
yeah, exactly. You know, I almost feel like Ted doesn't get kind of the due that he deserves because of the fact he is such a quiet, reserved, gentle, and really humble person.
Right.
And he's from Ocala. He went to Lake Weir High School. And think about it in this terms. There are 7 billion people in the world, okay? 26 million play golf. Ted is ranked 145th in the whole world.
Wow.
So when you think about it from that standpoint, that here's a guy that went to Lake Weir High School, was a cart boy at Lake Diamond Country Club, right down between here and Lake Weir High School, and he ascended to this pinnacle in the golf world. And one of the biggest steps that you can take in the golf world is to play in the Masters. And Ted Potter played in the Masters over about a month ago.
Yes.
And Ted actually won a little contest that they have of all the golfers just prior to the tournament called the Par 3 tournament, which accentuates that you have to have a great short game. And of the best golfers in the world, Ted won that tournament.
Fantastic.
Which it speaks volumes.
Yes.
But one thing as a comical side to it, there is actually something funny about it. No one who has ever won the Par 3 tournament at the Masters has ever gone on to win the Masters. So it's almost like Ted won this, he got a trophy. Oh my goodness, what a great stage, but then there's this jinx that comes along with it. So, but just telling Ted's story about coming out of Ocala and getting to the pinnacle of the golf world, yeah.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. And that'll be coming out in our June issue. Correct?
Terrific,
Yeah,
yep,
so yeah.
awesome.
All right, we'll turn to our interns right now. You can choose either Mike. So I'd like you both to share. We'll start with Heather. Share about who you are, a little background about yourself and your work at CF.
Okay. Well, my name's Heather, and I've been an intern since August of 2011.
Yes.
I think that's when I
probably
came.
our record longest intern.
I know. I don't know how it escaped me. Well, I started interning actually when I started college. It was kind of a dual package. I remember you coming into journalism class and talking. And I was just so enamored by the magazine business that I was like, you know what? I have to jump on this.
Excellent.
So I think I emailed you that night, and then it started.
That's right.
And it's just been a great experience. I'm about to graduate from CF. Lisa and I were on the Patriot Press.
Your editors.
Yeah, editors. Lisa was the features editor, and I was the web editor, features editor. Sorry, Lisa was news editor. I was features editor, and then I became editor-in-chief, and then we just passed the token on. But we're about to graduate actually Monday, and it's been a great experience. I've gotten to write for newspaper and magazine, so I've gotten to see what it's like
Both worlds.
like the difference between the writing styles. Right now, I'm going to transfer to UF in August.
You might have a future professor here.
To the College of Journalism, and yes, I'm excited. So I'm just excited. I would like to keep my hands busy and continue working for the magazine business or newspaper, whichever one. I'm not picky.
And I know you don't like to toot your own horn, so I'm going to do it for you. Heather has a near 4.0 average at school, and she won the Chavez Award in Journalism.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Congratulations all around, Heather. You've done
Thank you.
fantastic. I can't tell you enough about how much you've done for our magazine. Heather has not only covered much of our smaller news briefs items, but also wrote a couple of features herself, and she co-edited the Ocala Charity Register with us.
That was a lot of work.
Yes, it's a big challenge, but well worth it because our community is very philanthropic, and we have a very unusual, rare community that really cares and shows the support for people in need. And so, thank you for contributing to that, Heather.
Thank you.
And we'll turn to Lisa.
Hi.
Hi, Lisa. You can use either mic.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa.
I graduated from Forest in 2011, and I began at CF. I switched my major to journalism just because I love writing so much, and because I wrote for the Patriot Press, I was able to learn about Ocala Magazine's internships, and that's how I came on board. And ever since then, I've just been coming out of my shell and learning how to be a stronger writer. And it's been a good experience to be able to do that. And I'm working on getting into UF. Haven't heard back yet, but we'll see. So hopefully I'll
You'll get in. You'll get in.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being an intern. You get good recommendation letters and things like that.
And I did give you a long, broad range of assignments to cover. You helped out with the calendar, so getting all the entries in there, short news, brief stories, and just assisted in just about every capacity we have over there. So you're going to do great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. And I'd like to return back to Maritza a little bit. If you can give her the mic. I'd like to go a little bit about your background again. We went right into the journal. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I graduated from San Leo University with a bachelor's degree in administration, so I wandered off into the writing because it's really my passion. But after working 20 years in the local government, I was able to retire and help my husband with our family business, Fences R Us. And that's given me an opportunity to stay home and work on my real passion, which is writing. So I had the opportunity to write two books that I got published, and I had the opportunity to write for Ocala magazine, which has been an amazing experience.
Yes.
Never in a million years I dreamt I would be writing for a magazine, and I am so glad that I've had this opportunity. It's been amazing.
And since then, you've been asked to speak, right, at a conference or some kind of a...
Yes, actually, I spoke. There was a training center down at Lady Lake, and they had me come in and speak on my book. I actually had a 6-week class on the Learning How to Say No When You Usually Say Yes book, which was a lot of fun to write.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's a very interesting title.
Actually, I learned a lot myself from that book. We all tend to say yes to everything because we want to please everybody and we want to be liked, but we also have to think of ourselves, and we shortchange ourselves a lot of times when we're just saying yes to everybody. You're saying no to yourself, in a lot of things. So I learned a lot. It was interesting. It's done very well. So
excellent. Good.
Yes.
Now, let's focus on some of the other features that you've wrote throughout the year for us,
Yes.
because you didn't just do the medical journal. What were some of the highlights for you?
One of my favorite ones was Military Moms. I wrote last May during, for Mother's Day issue. It was amazing meeting these ladies. They had such inner strength. I interviewed 4 ladies, and some of them are actually military moms. Their children are in the military, but one of them in particular, she is in the military and has 2 young daughters going to high school. And just the challenges that they face and the everyday uncertainty that they face. But most of all is their strength. They all share that inner strength that was so inspiring to me as a mother, and I hope I was able to bring that across in the article of what they really go through, but the strength that we all have within us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you also wrote another one on the STEPS program?
Yes, the STEPS program out of CF. The College of Central Florida Foundation has a STEPS program. It's a scholarship program that's given to 5th graders at local elementary schools when they graduate from 5th grade. It's a $4,000 scholarship that goes toward tuition, so when they graduate from high school, they have that money available to them to attend College of Central Florida. The program is all sponsored by individuals, and it does a lot of good. I mean, it keeps these kids on track. They have to maintain a good grade point average and stay away from drugs and alcohol and crime throughout their career in school in order to receive that scholarship when they graduate. And last year when I wrote the article, they had their first people attending CF, the first students that had received the original STEPS scholarship attend CF.
Excellent. And I don't know if the community is aware, but May is Mental Health Month.
Yes.
And we had a feature recently called Parental Guidance Required,
Yes.
which you wrote. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, that was very interesting again. And that one had to do with the stigma that's associated with people seeking mental help. And it's not a bad thing to go see a mental health counselor that will help you get through things in life, especially with the teenagers. They think different, but they go through, they have their own stress and their own pressures to deal with. They're not the same as adults, but in their world, they're just as real as for the adults, and they do need help to get through some of these
Absolutely.
things. And I think, bringing that to the public's attention, that there's nothing wrong with seeking that kind of help, I think it was important. And I feel like it's very important what this magazine is doing, bringing these issues to the public's attention.
Absolutely, and we feel very strongly about this. We're going to continue with this series. I think you'll be happy to know that Dr. Joyce Urban will be a guest on our radio show to talk about this very feature and other things related. And also in June, we'll be covering a larger, broader topic on mental health, which was stemmed from all the recent reports that we heard about people attacking crowds with guns, and the whole issue was on gun control and that. Well, the deeper underlying issue is the mental health and balance of individuals. And so we're going to be focusing on that as a big, huge feature in June. So thank you for that, Maritza. Let's turn to David. And David, share with us really quickly some of your favorite highlight features that you wrote, aside from the restaurant review.
Right. Well, the one from last May is about the Emergency Operations Center. That is a great. I thought there was a very interesting story for me to pursue because with hurricane season coming up, it's great to know the sheriff's office has this EOC they call it, the Emergency Operations Center, where at any time once things they see it coming, they can activate this EOC, and then it has about like 80 desks, so that all the big players, everybody in the county that has a part, like school board, city, county, all the different city, they have a place at this table and stuff, and they can start discussing, hey, this storm is coming, what do we need to do? They even have like they have bunkers there so that you can stay there if you have to if things get so bad. So they're bunkered down. So it was really fascinating just to go into the EOC and see like, wow, this looks like something from the whole. It's in this U shape, so it looks like sort of United Nations feel. So if they were there, like, hey, we're getting ready to fight the storm. So it's very interesting for me to just report on that. So it's one of those things, and it's built. They built it to withstand. There's strong winds, so it's got that reinforced concrete and everything like that. So if the storm does come here, they'll be safe in this building. And they even have one of those mobile units that looks sort of like a robot with a camera, so that
very
if
high
things get
tech.
bad, they can send it out, like and it'll take images. So it was pretty interesting there. I think it's great to know, feel a little bit safer knowing that they have that kind of thing here.
Absolutely. And I presented the story idea to you after I did the Leadership Ocala Marion program through the Chamber of Commerce, and I got to witness it myself, and it looked like a command center from the Pentagon or something like that. I mean, it just looked so high-end, and each little station had its own sign there for the commissioner, for the mayor, for the sheriff, all that. It looked like officials from different nations. That's what the appearance is.
Right, yeah. They each have their own little desk and has their name plate
on there.
You can see where everybody's going to see it. And they see them all together, like, city and county, public works over here.
That's right.
Fire, city and county fire.
That's
over
right.
here. Kind of so everybody's together. All the help agencies are together, so that way they can kind of work together.
And on the walls, they had the different sponsors, people who donated, different businesses in town, which is just about every business in town has participated to the state of our place. Tell us a little bit about the newest story you've done, Going Up, the real estate. Yeah, I
think that's a story that everybody's excited about.
Absolutely.
I talked to some realtors who were just excited to see things taking a turn, like, houses starting to sell. So it was I think it's very exciting. Everybody's really excited about that, just because so much of our, people are excited about housing turning back in the county, coming back.
Okay, thank you, David. Seems like we have a caller come in.
Yeah, it looks like you do. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hi, I was just calling to say thank you for mentioning that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month.
Absolutely, yes.
It's a very important subject that people know about mental health, and that it is just another illness. If somebody has a mental illness, it is no different than MS or cancer or Alzheimer's.
Absolutely.
It's something that people are not well enough educated about.
Absolutely, and you'll be happy to know that we'll be covering it in further detail. Some of the experts who will be participating again is Dr. Joyce Urban, as well as Charles Powell, the CEO of the centers, which is the mental health facility. So
I know Charles quite well. He's on our board of directors for NAMI of Marion County.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Did you have a specific?
There's a little plug there for NAMI.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you have another specific question for one of our panelists? We have a few seconds left.
No, I just would appreciate it if you would mention that NAMI has a fundraiser this month on May 18th.
Go ahead. May 18th?
May 18th at the Ocala Hilton from 7 to 11. and it's our very first big fundraiser. And all the money stays within Marion County.
Okay. Thank you very much for your call today.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. So in our last few seconds, I'd just like to wrap up and say thank you all for being here. You're obviously a very talented, phenomenal group. Ocala Magazine is honored to have you contributing to our magazine. I'd also like to say really quick that Olivia Hendricks is the third Johnny's Angel, who could not be here today. She is working, but she's a communications major. And what is her plan, Heather? Do you know what she's doing next?
I think she's interested in going to UF, actually. So
Okay.
I guess we're all going to be pursuing that
All together.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best of luck. I also want to mention really quick Vincent Alvarado, who is our new media coordinator. He does all of our online posts, which is an extension of the magazine. We do cover more material, other material that's not covered in the magazine. And I'd just like to put a plug in for him that he managed to get one of his posts to reach 71,995 likes. That's like a major record as far as I know. And another one reached 10,000, so he's doing a phenomenal job. Again, thank you all for being here today. That's our time. Thank you very much, Larry and Robin, for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll take a little break and be right back.
Look so good. Why don't you love me like I know you could?
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by MyFWC.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it. Florida and clouds will mix with sun today. We'll see some showers and thunderstorms around. The high of 73 to 80 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight. Still some showers and a rumble of thunder. The low 64 to 67. Stays a bit unsettled tomorrow. Rather cloudy with some showers and thunderstorms. A high of 79 to 82. A lingering morning showers Sunday. Then breezy with clouds and sun. A dry afternoon with a high of 78 to 81. From the Florida Weather Center.